I was watching Sunset Boulevard at the time, and I just thought, what if that story was told from Norma Desmond's perspective? That was kind of the beginning, the sort of the through line. And then it was just a joy to go back to Milan in the 70s and 80s, which is where I grew up in Milan in the 80s basically, and to go back through the film, through the real life story, was an opportunity to explore some of these places that I grew up in. And to me, the key was to make it fun and to give it a sense of irony and not take it too seriously in a sense, because the characters are so big, So yeah, that was kind of the beginning of it.
And it is one of these things where life is stranger than fiction in so many ways. Like, I feel like you couldn't have made some of this stuff up. Was there anything you found in your research that you just couldn't include because even though it was true, it was so crazy?
I read a lot of articles from the 70s about the family as things were happening, which was interesting because obviously it was, the craziest family in Italian fashion at the time. And the one thing I noticed, for example, the fascination with pigeons that Paolo has. That was something that was like, there was one line in an article, that he was the chairman of the Pigeon Fanciers Association. And I thought, okay, that's the character. Like, he soars like a pigeon.
Why are you laughing? This is a very serious business here.
This is the first time that I see Jared outside of his costume, by the way. Nice to meet you.
It's good to see you. First time I saw you out of a mask.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right.
Next time we'll see all of you with no mask.
From your lips, yes. Ridley, what attracted you to making this film? Because I feel like so many of your films kind of explore these worlds of privilege and the downfall that can lead to. Is that a theme that resonates with you? Because it feels more relevant today than ever.
I do films about people with privilege.
I would say All the Money in the World. Yeah. I would say in The Last Duel.
I've done quite a few movies. No, about privilege. Okay, I'll answer the question. Okay, I'll try. No, I think Janina wouldn't stop talking about it for 27 years because we've been together. And it would be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And one day, I met somebody in the office called Roberto, and I said, he'd written something for us, quite small, but really beautifully and very succinctly put together as a 3-act play, because the film is a play. And we just thought, why the hell? I said, do you want to write Gucci? And he said, so we gave him material that had been written in the past. That is to say, the book, right? Because all the other screenplays had actually failed. They hadn't worked at any level, so there was not much value in giving him screenplays that hadn't worked. And I think it seemed to be like 3 weeks I had a screenplay. It was extraordinary.
You're kidding.
It was so, yeah. How long did you take to do the first draft?
Well, about 3 months, but...
Yeah, flash, and the most important single thing you can do as a filmmaker is get it on paper first before anybody, anything. Get it on paper, because that's your goddamn blueprint, that's your play, right? If you haven't got the play, you haven't got a film. And so to me, a screenplay is a blueprint. And I read the blueprint and went, damn, he nailed it. And that's what it was. Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, were you really waiting for the perfect script? Because
Well, no, script reading to me is, I don't analyze, I'm not forensically analytic of a screenplay. I tend to read viscerally. I have a reaction to what I've just read. It's visceral. And sometimes I can't even put logic on why I like to do it. Why I did Blade Runner, God only knows, but I did do it. And when I met the writer, a guy called Hampton Fancher, he was a great writer, but I'm a pretty good visualist. And so when we got together, it just grew and grew and grew. And so funnily enough, my experience in everything I've done, oddly enough, the most rewarding and expansive relationship I've ever had was with Hampton Fancher. We sat for 5 months completely readjusting the whole thing, and it just grew. And I think any director or any writer, if you can get together in a room and actually spend enough time together, that's the most valuable thing you can do.
By the way, Ridley Scott saying, "I'm a pretty good visualist," is like the understatement of the century.
No, I know I'm blessed with an eye. I've got an eye. I've always had the eye, and so sometimes it would work against me. But you know how times change. I was absolutely killed for The Duelist because the criticism was it's too simplistic. It's the guys speak American. It's too pretty. It's too beautiful. Too many filters. And there were no filters. What happens is it pissed down for 42 days. So that was the filter. And then today, it now runs on Netflix 40 years later, and is classified as a 5-star masterpiece. That's silly. It doesn't really matter. And I've learned not to care. At the end of when I've finished a movie, there's only one critic that makes any sense at all, and that has to be yourself. Then you have to move on and forget what you just did. Or you can be proud of it, but move on.
Well, obviously this film doesn't work without the perfect cast, and you just have a murderer's row of talent here. Gaga, I'm so curious, what interested you in this character, and how much did you know about her, not just before playing her, but before even reading the script? Were you familiar with this story?
I knew nothing.
Oh,
about
sorry.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm a singer. I should.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay. Hi. I actually didn't know anything about Patrizia Gucci before I read the script. I learned about her first through the script, and then I spent a long time reading mostly exposition about her, and I did not read the book on purpose. I started reading the book, and I thought that it was going to color my thinking, and it had a lot of opinions, and I didn't really want anyone to tell me who she was. So I read everything I could read about her. I watched any interview that she ever gave to study her mannerisms and her accent, and also I watched all those. I'm sure you like to lay in bed and eat and watch true crime. Some of you. I watched all of those, and I would start and stop it constantly to take notes so that I would only remember the facts and not remember any opinions that whatever true crime show I was watching had about her. And what made me fall in love with this project was Ridley. It was Giannina. It was this cast that's here. I have to say that I really care about all of you, and I will never forget this experience, so thank you for sharing it with me. The other reason I fell in love with it was because I thought, oh, this is interesting, because most people would be very excited to play a chancy, risky, gold-digging murderer that gets off on chaos and fucking up people's lives. And I thought, well, what if I made her a real woman? And there was almost no information about her pre-1995, which is when Maurizio Gucci was killed. And I thought what was fascinating about this was to go back to your question about power and privilege, which I'm not sure is the theme of most of your films. However,
I would say most.
one of the things that I do feel about this movie is that there's a lot of money